going to start this recording.
All right, welcome everybody to the N-Word for Nerd podcast. As always, we're going to jump right into our top section. So we are going to do a top 3 time loop movies. Yes, time loop movies. We could throw in a little sprinkling of reincarnation, but this does not include time travel. As I've been explicitly told, time travel movies are not supposed to be on the list.
Two different things, man. Two different things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll go round robin. I'll start off with my number 3. My number 3 is going to be The Final Girls, a recent horror movie that came out where they're in a movie time loop, and every 93 minutes the movie restarts and they're trying to survive it and make it to the end. Just a great movie. I do love it because the main female in the movie that survives the real movie doesn't survive from the loops. So actually enjoyable for me. So I'm going to go The Final Girls as my first time loop movie in my top 3. What say you, Jarren?
All right. So mine, my number 3 is a great one, but it's also based on, the movie itself doesn't declare exactly what's going on with the loop, but a lot of fan theories really kind of close the gap and make me feel like it is. And then mine's going to be Donnie Darko. And the reason that it isn't explicitly said it's a time loop, but the idea that when that engine crashes through his bedroom, it's supposed to have killed him, and now the universe is stuck and to the point where he's got to die, I think is a phenomenal. And it's also, I mean, you deal with the whole issues, the mental health and all that aspect of it too, that I think is pretty dope. So my number 3, Donnie Darko.
All right. Jason A.
All right. Well, my number 3 is number 3 because you get to see Tom Cruise die a lot. It's Edge of Tomorrow. It's awesome. He dies horribly like 1,000 times, and it's just so much fun to see Tom Cruise die. That's my number 3.
Well, it's funny because leading into my number 2 actually is, yes, you named it, Edge of Tomorrow. And I don't like it because I get to see Tom Cruise die. I actually enjoy Tom Cruise, and I think he should live on forever. And if we can put him into Horcruxes and let him just keep surviving, I'm all for it. Yes, but I'm going to go Edge of Tomorrow. But also not only because Tom Cruise died, I just think, like, this movie is made for Tom Cruise, man. Like, Tom Cruise gets to get the most Tom Cruisian that he can be. He gets insane Tom Cruise. We get running Tom Cruise. We get hysterical Tom Cruise. We get passionate, loving Tom Cruise. We get Oprah jumping on the couch Tom Cruise. Every Tom Cruise is in this movie. So I go with Edge of Tomorrow as mine.
Tom Cruise is also 600 years old, so, you know, he'll live forever.
Man. We're not supposed to agree on this shit, but my number 2 is also Edge of Tomorrow, and I think you guys are missing a big part of it. Emily motherfucking Blunt is a badass in this movie.
She's awesome.
You know, they're talking about Tom Cruise, love, hate, this, that, and the other. The fucking the guy that plays his drill sergeant, phenomenal in it, and Emily Blunt fucking kills it. Kind of makes you wonder why she's married to Jim from The Office, but
whoa, don't throw shade at Jim.
But yeah, Edge of Tomorrow is my number 2 for sure.
All right, well, I'm going to switch it up. My number 2, we'll probably talk about this later this episode, is Boss Level. I really, really enjoyed that movie.
Wow.
It for me was it had action, it had heart, and I like Frank Grillo as an actor. You know, he can be in anything. He was in a movie about ballet. He's just great. So my number 2 is Boss Level. It's a fun movie, and we'll talk about this later. So
yep,
I won't go into it more.
Boss Level letter. So my number 1 with the gun is, and you'll probably notice it from a theme for my third one, is Happy Death Day. I love Happy Death Day. I think it's just such a great movie, and I'm all for thrillers and slashers that take that concept but then turn it on its head. So basically just mashes 2 genres together, the time loop genre with the slasher genre, similar to The Final Girls, but this one follows one character as she tries to figure her way out of this time loop, and it figures that's to do with the killer. I think it's just fun. I think the mystery in it is good. I think the humor they play up into all of it, about how she goes through the time loops and how she keeps progressing is really, really good. They did make a sequel, Happy Death Day 2U. I think it's almost just as good, but it goes more sci-fi than horror in the sequel, where I think this one sits firmly with more of a horror element than sci-fi. And everybody knows I'm a huge horror guy. It's sci-fi, fantasy being my second genre. So to get both of them mashed into one movie and in the order that I like, I'm here for it. So yes, that is my number one. Happy Death Day. Jarren, what say you?
Number one, Time Loop Movies is a relatively new movie as well. It is called Palm Springs, and I fucking love this movie. I love the mom from How I Met Your Mother. Yeah. I love obviously I love dude from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Andy Samberg.
Andy Samberg, yes, thank you. The Bud Light is creepy. It does something. It takes what I thought was a great movie, which was Groundhog Day, and it changes it up in a way that makes you want it. Like the fact that they added more people to the loop makes it worth a revisit. Although I am a big fan of the idea of people making just enough of a trailer for Groundhog Day 2, but then when you go to see it, it's just Groundhog Day 1 again. It's hilarious.
And also shout out to J.K. Simmons in that too. He has a great cameo role in it, which is really good. Yeah. All right, Jason, what says you? What is your number one?
I am surprised by the both of you that your number one isn't the OG time loop movie, which is Groundhog Day.
Couldn't do it, man.
I mean, like how there would not be a genre without this movie. Right? And Bill Murray is a national treasure. He is. You should put him in the Smithsonian. I can't talk today. Groundhog Day is a classic. It's great even now watching again. 30 years later, it's still funny. There's a little bit of questionable behavior. I mean, he does literally, gaslight a woman for, I guess, 500 years or however long he's in a time loop. But, with Bill Murray, you can't really be mad at him. You can't really think he's that much of a creep. It's a great movie. I mean, it's a classic. It's a masterpiece. Groundhog Day. Nothing more to say.
See, I battle with Groundhog Day, but I feel like the three movies I chose, I would rather watch before I would watch Groundhog Day. That was my deciding factor with all my movies. Like, what if it came on, if it was on TV, and I had all three of them playing, or all of them playing, which movies would I want to sit down and watch in what order? And so that's the only reason Groundhog Day did not make mine, because I would rather watch Happy Death Day, Final Girls, and Edge of Tomorrow, just for me, because of horror number one, sci-fi number two for me. So
I would rather go to a Slipknot concert than go watch, the classics of Brahms, but doesn't mean Brahms isn't the superior piece of work, right? Just saying.
So, hold on, this is from the same people who, when we did the zombie ones, Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead wasn't there one or two for either one of you, if I recall.
Nah, Night of the Living Dead was two for me, I think. I don't know. Somebody can go back and be like, nah.
I was about to say, because by the same logic, like, they are the Groundhog Day of that genre.
Yeah, but then the Koreans came and did it way better.
Yep.
Well, starting
when the Koreans come and do a time loop movie, I'm sure it's going to be a masterpiece. All right.
Well, starting with that, then let's introduce everybody. Welcome, everybody. If you did not know, to the N-Word for Nerd podcast. I am back in the saddle, had a little small vacation. Drake was like, off a smells like vacation. I don't. I came back home and I just smell like my house, and was like, man, it was so much better when I could hear the ocean as I sat around and did nothing. So, but I'm back and I'm not bitter about it at all. Welcome as always. We have our co-host, Jarren. What's going on, Jarren?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Glad to be here.
I did get a little heat because they were like, oh, man, y'all got to stop calling Jarren the Token. And I said, well, he is the Token. Like, not only just because he's the token white guy, because without you, we wouldn't get passage for some of the things that we get away with and say. So you are the tokenage of our ability to get through and get away with shit.
You're a good luck token.
Yes.
Oh, I'm Irish? Now I'm offended.
But with Jarren doing good, we're going to go to the Duke of all nerds, Jason, which we had a controversy briefly about which Jason is which Jason. So we've participated to say that Jason, the Duke of all nerds, will be Jason number A.
I'm Jason number A.
And me, myself, Corny J, will be Jason number 1.
Jason number 1. See, there's
so that's how we're going to do it here. So if people ever get confused, you either call him the Duke or you call him Jasen number A. So going forward from there, guys, we have a jam-packed show. That's why our theme was time loop movies, because we do have movies that dabble in that, so we wanted to talk about that. But starting off with that, we always want to start off with some geek and nerd news. So we have a plethora for you this week. Let's go ahead and get my notes here for you. Starting off, this is right up Jarren's alley, probably a little bit of Jasen's as well. They announced that it's ASUS Tough-515, which is basically a laptop that they are making for gamers. As Jarren has schooled me with numerous times, that gamers usually do it totally on a PC because of the power of the PC. Well, I think someone's trying to challenge the power of a PC with a laptop. So the retail for it is $2,198. Jarren, giving you your thoughts as the resident gamer that I know on this, and do you think it's going to work? Will it move people from PC, or it's just a feeble opportunity, feeble attempt?
Well, a couple things. If it's a Windows-based laptop, it is a PC. It's just, a portable version. Generally, they don't get away with a full-sized graphics card in that form factor, so you're going to sacrifice power. So will it stand up toe-to-toe with the best thing you can put in a full-size tower? Absolutely not. It just won't happen. But some people are willing to give that up for the portability. So it's always a question. I myself, right now, I'm streaming on a Windows or a Surface Pro 7 that's like kitted all the way out. I spent the most money that Microsoft would let me spend on it, and I have everything maxed to the T on it. And I can do basic 3D modeling on it and some 3D sculpting, and I can do video editing on it. But does it compare to my desktop with a 3090 in it? No, not even a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm just going to you take that up with the creators, and you can have that battle with them. Next news, and still in tech, we're going to do BenQ has launched a new projector for gaming, especially for the PS5. It's supposed to basically revolutionize the projector's ability to get what you see on your normal TVs out there on the projector form pretty well. Jasen, I don't know if you have any familiarity with gaming with the projector side of it, but from what I heard, like a lot of the transitions kind of shady. This one actually captures it a lot better. What are your thoughts on, would you switch to projector if this works, or you rather do it still with your normal usage?
Hell no. Projectors are, I mean, you can get a bigger, picture, obviously. If they're saying that, your frame rate will be great and, the refresh rate will be good. Yeah, that's still great. But like for the amount of money you spend in the projector, you can get a really good TV for almost half the cost. And it's just like, it's at some point, it gets to the point where it's too big to even be like feasible for you to play video games on. Like if you ever played like Halo on one of those big old CRT big screen TVs, it's kind of like too big to like look at all the screen at one time to be as good as you want to be. So I don't need a projector. Maybe if it was good for like watching movies on the lawn, maybe it'd be like a cool like novelty feature. You can have like a lawn video game party, but nah, you don't need a projector to play video games on. Just get a TV. It's fine.
All right, go ahead.
Sorry, someone who's actually gamed on a projector back like with the Wii U, back when you didn't really, refresh rate wasn't as big of a deal. Yeah, it's great, but there's a hidden cost too. So you get the projector and you get a bulb. But those bulbs, when you have to replace them after 1,000 hours of television, they rake in at like somewhere between $500 and $700. And the better the projector, the more expensive the bulb. So there's a continual cycle of money that you have to spend to maintain the cool factor of having your TV be as big as an entire wall of your living room. Now, I mean, it is cool, and I mean, I showed it off a lot when I had it up and running. But no, it's if this thing's running 4K and 120 hertz, there's still going to be some ghosting in the issue because it's projected light on a surface. It's difficult to mimic, like unless that's what they're saying they're doing, which I'd be interested to see the tech because it'd be very interesting.
I mean, if someone gave me one for free, I'll definitely use it.
All right, you hear that, Ben? You hear that, Ben Q? We need a sponsorship. All right, jumping right along. James Cameron Lovechild seems like for the last million years is going to have a million sequels. But before any of those sequels drop, we're getting Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora video game, and the trailer just recently dropped. So evidently, it's supposed to follow one of the Na'vi as they embark across the western frontier of the unexplored region of Pandora. One, I guess we start with Jason. One, are you interested in even playing this game? And then we'll go to Jarren and say, Jarren, would you rather play this game than watch the 7-hour movie that was probably going to come out? What do you think, Jason?
All right. The fact that Avatar was at one point was the highest grossing movie of all time shows that this world is doomed. Avatar is terrible. It is awful. I don't give a shit about Avatar. Unless it has the words "Last Airbender" at the end of it. I don't know. I mean, like, I can go down the street and this movie gross over, a couple of $1 billion, and I'd be like, "Hey, who's the main character? What's the main character's name in Avatar?" And no one could give me a solid answer.
Yeah.
What was his name? I don't fucking know. Does anybody know? No.
White guy wheelchair.
White guy with a wheelchair. Yeah.
Was it Tully or something like that?
It was Sully.
Sully, there you go. I'm close enough.
There's nothing. It's Ferngully with big blue cats. It's nothing about this is anything that I want to be a part of. It is the white savior. He gets to be the best native of that planet ever. It's fucking retarded. I'm sorry for using that word, but that's what it is. I can't get behind this. I don't care. I do not care.
All right, Jarren, rather have this or the sequels?
I don't know. There's a couple things. I know it's a dated reference because there have been decent video games based on movie properties, but I come from a place back in the day where video games that had movie tie-ins often spent their entire budget on the tie-in itself, and then they put together some crap video game that roughly resembled the world and hoped that the name itself would sell it all. I know that's been different now. If they approach it like they did with the Matrix video game, where they basically told a tertiary story that folded back into the movie, I don't know. I'd be kind of down for it. But again, it would be the quality of the studio and the quality of the game. I'm not as hard on Space Pocahontas as Jason is. Yeah, it's definitely got its problems, but I'm hoping that with 5 movies, they're going to get away from Ferngully. I mean, I hope there's an original idea in there somewhere. If not, it'd be fucking hilarious if they just ripped off other popular movies for the next 5 movies, but with a blue cat involved.
I was going to say something really, really egregious about why you're not as big on hating the Space Pocahontas, but I'm going to leave that one to myself.
Go on.
It has to do with his tokenism. So going on.
Colonizers are going to colonize.
Right. So we have one ring that rules them all, and one more attempt for us to forget how terrible The Hobbit was. So we're going to get basically another cartoon version set in Middle Earth from the Lord of the Rings area and franchise there, but it's going to be anime style. It's going to be War of the Rohirrim, and I guess it's going to, Rohirrim, excuse me. It's going to take place at a past battle that took place at Helm's Deep. So, Jason, are you here for that?
Dude, they just struck the bell on the head, man. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, one of the best things about Lord of the Rings is the writers of Rohan, and they got a show entirely based on that. I am 100% in. I don't even like anime. I'm going to sit down and be all about this show. All right. The writers of Rohan are like, they're badasses. They're badass horse lords. Yes, I'm in.
I'm right there with you. I think that was the best news I got because, again, we can't let The Hobbit be the last thing we ever get for Lord of the Rings. Also, it's supposed to be a live-action series coming soon, but we'll save that for another segment for news. All right, a recent trailer for... What's up?
No, it's a second age.
I don't know about them. Are they the Dothraki then? Is that what's going on?
No, they're like Viking people-ish, but horse lords.
Dothraki.
All right,
it's different.
Trailer for Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe Revelation just came out. The show, I think we talked about it 2 weeks ago on Geek News, is going to be for Netflix and all that. Jarren, were you excited from what the trailer showed you? Has it upped your level of wanting to see this now?
Mildly.
Wow.
It reminded me how stupid all of those stupid characters are. The stupid cat when he's not He-Man is a fucking fraidy cat. The stupid Orko thing is still just a piece of shit with no fucking legs. That's probably going to be the most annoying fucking character in the world. They made the voice of the Batman a merman. The fuck? What about that guy that takes his hands off and beats people to death with it? It's a dumb fucking show. It's a dumb fucking premise. Dumb fucking character design. All they did was put more clothes on the women and keep the guys exactly the same. They did take his like little German like cross off of his chest and replaced it with an H, but I mean, the animation looks great, and Mark Hamill's there, so I'll probably watch it. But
all right, going to our next topic on here, we actually on our own group thread had a discussion about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, a CG animated cartoon is coming in 2023, and it's being helmed by Seth Rogen. Jason, Duke of Nerds, are you excited for this, or what's your vibe on this?
Look, as long as Michael Bay stays far, far away, this will be great. I nearly quit the show when you said that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 was the best one, and I'm like, no. Look, Seth Rogen is really good at adapting things. He's got a great track record. He's a serious-minded professional who also smokes a lot of weed. He is going to put as much energy and effort into this as he's done all his other work, and it will probably be pretty good. I mean, it's not hard to make Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles good. Unfortunately, Michael Bay has brain issues, and he can't do it, but Seth Rogen does not, so he's going to make this good.
Look, Out of the Shadows, still number one.
No.
She-Hulk has announced their Titana, and it's going to be Jamila Jamil. Did I say that correct, Jason, for the check?
Probably. I don't know.
Oh, okay. She is.
Yes, you said that correctly.
Yes. She is the Indian lady from A Good Place. Yes, which is a great, fabulous show. If someone has not watched it, please go out and watch that. Binge that immediately. Anyway, I think it's a good choice. Jarren, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to see what they do with the franchise. This is going to be difficult, I think, for them to pull off well, and so I'm just waiting with bated breath. So far, they haven't made a misstep with casting, so I'm on board.
All right. So I think right there that ends our section on the news. All right, we're going to jump into the hottest topic going on, and I know we couldn't wait to get here, but we're finally here. Disney Plus has dropped the first episode of Loki, and I just want to take a quote from the immortal Puff Daddy when he says, "He can't stop, we won't stop." Yes, it is Marvel Disney for life at this point, man. Like, so before I jump into my pros and cons, I'm going to give it away here to Jarren. I'll let Jarren start this off. What does he think about Loki? And just give us everything you got.
All right. First of all, it's bad Loki from right after he just stopped trying to take over New York. From as soon as he gets dumped into the desert, when he immediately gets on a rock that's just slightly above everybody else, just so he can be, standing above the little people. The time variance authority, I love. If I was a better artist, I can tell you right now, and I know someone will steal this idea if they haven't already, I would draw all of my favorite time travelers in the TVA jumpsuits. We're talking Doc, we're talking Marty, all of the Doctor Who's, all in these suits, handcuffs and a neck thing, like shit. Like the concept is great, the design of it's great. Owen Wilson, I wasn't sure what to expect from Owen Wilson. I mean, he's playing it in his lane, I guess. So he's doing a wonderful job. The chick from Lovecraft Country is a stone cold hard ass, and I fucking love it. There are things in the background of the TVA that let you know that there is some ominous bullshit going on behind there was like one poster that stood out to me where it's just a guy and he's got his eyes all crazy and he goes, "We're always watching TVA." I'm like, shit like that really, like they're not good people, and it's going to be fun. Also, and I know the internet is abuzz with this, and I rewatched it like 3 or 4 times. Did Peggy Carter get ported in that scene? Because it kind of
looks like her. It definitely looks like her.
Let me just say also a big thumbs up to Hiddleston. He is playing. You can tell he's having a good time with it. He loves the character. He is. He's playing petulant child almost for a laugh when he needs to, but when he sees his mom die and that he at the hands of himself, and then he sees his own death, like there's an emotional wave that hits him that is very real and true, and I absolutely loved it. Yeah, no, I am so excited for Wednesday. I can't wait to see where this goes. I'm here for it, and then some.
All right, Duke, what you got?
Oh, I'm definitely down with this show. Loki is Tom Hiddleston is just playing so like he's enjoying himself. You can tell in almost every scene he's having so much fun. It seems like pretty much everybody is like really about this piece of work. One of I guess the one detractor that I have to the show is that we kind of have Loki's turn from bad guy to good guy. Even though it was well done and well concocted, it's kind of a little sudden for me. I want him to be still like a megalomaniac asshole for at least a couple of episodes before he's like, yeah, I'll help. You know, I feel like even though like they did show like pretty much caught him up on the MCU timeline, we had, 4 movies of before Loki, really turned on over a new leaf. So that's a lot of emotional background to cover within an hour, not even an hour. It was like 3 minutes of the show.
You don't think he's just telling them what they want to hear so he can get the fuck out of there?
Well, I think they're telling him what he wants to hear so he can help them. I definitely feel like the TVA is not the benevolent overlord that they are making out to be. I definitely feel like, there is something, more to this other than, we're just trying to keep the timeline pure. Well, what does it matter if the timeline is pure or not or whatever? That sounds a little Hitlerish to me. So
sacred.
Yeah. It's like Owen Wilson is my favorite Wilson brother. He's great. Everybody, even freaking Pillboy from The Good Place showed up.
Yep.
And when he opens the door and there's all these Infinity Stones, and it's like, oh yeah, we just use these as paperweights. Some of the guys.
You say Pillboy. I'm sitting there going, Rutherford.
It's great. Everybody in it is just acting off to a T. I am here for it. I hope that it continues on this trajectory. So I'm set for Wednesday night now. Don't call me because I'm not going to answer.
Yeah, so my wife, we watched the first episode and she goes, oh shit, does this mean we got to get up at 6 a.m. every Wednesday and watch this? I said, you know what it is. So going to my pros, my pros is like you guys already hit, man. Tom Hiddleston falls back into being Loki almost seamlessly. And why I give it more respect is because the last few incarnations that he's played of this character was on the other side. It wasn't the Avengers guy anymore. He had grown a lot more from this. So to be able to walk back your character, get in those shoes, and it felt the same. It didn't feel like, oh, he's trying to act like. It felt like he was that Loki. No difference on there. One of the things that you pointed out, Jason, that I liked a lot was the whole explaining of this universe and the I guess the babyface turn for Loki all in 45 minutes. And it was all believable. That is a very, 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 as you being writer, both of you guys being writers, that is a very, 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 very tough thing to do to make it believable, that we can believe that someone could go that route. And I think the biggest thing that made it believable is that we saw Loki go from, obviously they must have done time travel to stop my sin to being king. He just knew in his mind that time traveling as the Avengers was to stop him, to find out that it was a bigger threat than him that eliminated him with one hand, with ease. This has to be a humbling experience for you when you have been touted yourself as this great God and this great revolutionary and freer of man, to be humbled by seeing yourself basically get choked out by someone, and you were never a threat at all. So and that's why I think for me the babyface turn, because he realized like, oh shit, This is different. Like the test recs don't mean shit. Me doing all this don't mean shit. This dude took me out when I was playing the game, and now I'm sitting here at this organization, and they're telling me that everything I fought for and worked hard to achieve really is just some fucking paper race around people's offices. Like, fuck out of here. Like, it was very humbling. So yeah, I think that when DB Cooper,
great.
Shout out to Marvel. Shout out to Marvel. Just you didn't have to even add that in there, and it just works.
I liked that scene. But it didn't mean anything. It was just like, oh, I did that as a bet.
Yeah. It literally was useless. As I said, kudos to Marvel, because that literally, you put that in there, like you said, it could have been left on the cutting room floor, but you put that in there, one, for historians, but then two, you put that in there because that was supposed to be like the point of, Owen Wilson's character to say, look, you don't even do mischievous stuff unless you're basically been told by someone else to do it. You're not the god of mischief. You don't do anything mischievous. Yeah. So it was a very good poignant point to put in there that, like, yeah, when he says, oh, that was a bet. Yes, because you don't do anything mischievous unless you're basically being told to do it. So I thought that was great. And then let's call it what it is. Multiverse is activated now. We don't have to speculate about it. We don't got to guess about it anymore. It's been confirmed. We know it's out there. We know it's real. Now we're just going wondering how we're going to get all the other characters that we love in Marvel into those universes. So X-Men, Fantastic Four, Miles Morales. How are you going to bring them in? I don't care, but I'm all here for it because you can make up any excuse now at this point. The only cons I had was that it was only one episode released this week, and I can't wait for the second one. And with this episode being so strong, Marvel has had a bad habit of not sticking the landing. So it gives me fear that these episodes will keep getting better and better. And then the last episode, I'm going to feel some kind of like, ugh. But that's just me being pessimistic from what we've seen from the other two that have been out. So,
and also the executive producer of the show also let drop that there's going to be a surprise cameo in this season as well, which, from WandaVision was a big letdown that the surprise cameo was just Paul Bettany playing himself again. So hopefully they don't get too big on the hype machine to build it up. Like, I mean, for me, I definitely built up WandaVision to have all these revelations are going to happen in the last episode where really nothing really, world building breaking happened. So hopefully it won't be built up to such a height that no matter what they give us is going to let us down. So let's temper our expectations, I guess, a little bit.
Okay, well then let's go with this real quick then.
One thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Miss Minutes. Phenomenal animation, very stylized. Love the whole animated walkthrough of what a variant is and how it works. I think that's a great way to tell stories that are very, very convoluted on their surface. And if you're not a big like time travel person and stuff, this gives you really good visual representation. Did anybody else notice that when she was talking about the multiversal wars, they used the word madness like right next to each other? I'm like, oh, that's
They were definitely hitting to something.
Yes.
And also, it's a really good way to do exposition, which we'll get into later. But like, it was basically an exposition dump, but done in a very entertaining and meaningful way. And that's really cool to see that, they didn't just put text on the screen to tell you what was happening. They did it in a fun way, which is really, really cool.
Also, I love that Loki tried to throw the Avengers under the bus. He's like, motherfucker, listen, I time travel a little bit. These motherfuckers over here, y'all need to look at the Avengers.
And then like, oh no, the Avengers are fine. They meant to do that.
Right. Well, and that's what I was going to get to of it. I'm like, what is you guys' favorite part of the episode? And then what is your guys' quote unquote not so much of the episode? If you had to pick one thing that you were like, that you popped for, to use my wrestling terms, that you popped for when you were watching, like, oh my God, what was that moment for you?
Jarren, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. Least favorite? I really didn't have like I was there for everything in the episode. I really like, if I just have to go off the cuff, Owen Wilson's delivery when he's using that time turner device and he thrown the chair and then he was like, well, now it doesn't have the same impact, but then he reverses him back. He's like, oh, it reverses you, but it doesn't adjust the furniture. And then he falls down like 3 more times. And I don't know. I enjoyed that super dry delivery because he's on his ass and he's like, he's the god of mischief. He's having a fucking day. And now he's falling on his ass.
Right.
Bounce back. I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, my least favorite moment, I guess, would be how easily Owen Wilson let Loki manipulate him to get away. Like you should know that like he was gonna pickpocket your time tuner thing. You know, you seem like you're already a few steps ahead of him as it is, which is really hard to do for Loki. So I felt like that was a little bit like contrived that he was like, oh, he got this away from me. I guess my favorite scene, even though I said I didn't like how his babyface turn was so sudden. I wouldn't say sudden, but so soon was when Owen Wilson's like, why do you hurt people? And it's like, 'cause I don't like hurting people. It's just this is how weak people show that they're not weak or whatever he said. It was just so well done and well acted. Like I felt that. I was like, that's like literally like anybody that is out there doing heinous things to people are doing it because they are weak on the inside and they have to prove to others that they're strong when they're not. And that's like that really, really, really hit me in the feels.
Absolutely. I would say my biggest pop moment for this, which is stupid and irrational, but I mean, the calling for the knives. Just when he's trying to like, what is he doing? Oh, he's trying to use his powers. Like that made me just pop like the whole like because even I mean the mannerism, the shorty that like, hold on, just a minute, like it just everything went into that. I was just like I laughed and I popped so hard. I'm like, that is a perfect moment for Loki.
He committed.
My least yeah.
Like I'm if there had been visual effects, that would have looked dope as fuck. But he committed nothing and it looked silly as shit.
Right. Or the close second is the am I an android? Am I a robot? Just because I used to watch Agents of Shield, so the life model decoy. Like, some people don't even know they're a robot. And he's like, does that happen quite a lot? Like, and I did pop of that too to be like, okay, I know.
It'll just melt you from the inside if you're a robot. It's fine.
Yeah. I like that they got his temporal fingerprint or thumbprint or whatever off of
right.
That. So I was like, all right. Yeah.
And I would say my least favorite of all of it was and I think she's a great actress, or whatever, but I just felt I felt the cliched, no nonsense type of cop thing was like, okay, we get she's the black chick with the attitude. That's what we're giving her. That's the role. They're gonna give her that. Oh, why are you working with this variant? Oh, what like yeah, all right, we got it. But I think there's going to be a lot of comedy that's going to come out of that in the future. But for the first episode, I was just like, all right, go ahead and give me this. I already know what you're going to feed me on this one. So, but
they also gave they chose an actress. I didn't mean to talk over you. Apologies, but they chose an actress who I know we've all seen what she's done. She has incredible range. So the idea that there's a turn with that character might I wouldn't be surprised. And honestly, if she ends up begrudgingly helping Loki at some point, I could see that happening too. Maybe not, but I mean, they chose somebody that knows how to act. So it is
right.
To make her a two-dimensional character throughout the series would be an injustice, I think, and I don't think that Marvel's up for that. So we'll see.
I don't know. They do like to, marginalize characters.
Yeah.
They have
to get him up out of there.
I mean, luckily it's not a Star Wars show. Otherwise, we'd be like, how come Finn don't got a storyline?
How roses get rolled out on one whole episode.
Yeah, they just wrote her completely off.
Yeah. Like,
get the fuck out of here, Rose.
Check the box.
Yeah. Let's go on to hold on. Before I move on, any closing thoughts on Loki? Anybody wants to share, or we can move on?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, this is going to be, 10 weeks of good TV. So I'm here. I'm good. It's good. It's great. Let's go.
Very interesting. Seeing all the Infinity Stones in duplicated fashion in a drawer. Marvel literally letting the audience know, it's like, man, we done with that shit. There's something much more powerful on the horizon. Buckle up, kids. You're in for a ride. And I'm like, the Conqueror.
Well, and I agree with you. And like I saw people were like, oh, that just like diminishes or marginalizes the first couple of phases. And I'm like, no, this is showing you that those first couple of phases ain't got shit on what we about to give you next. Like that's what I felt.
And that's what
also,
yeah.
And plus,
they always undermined what they did before.
Because we are this kind of show, I got to ask, better exposition dump. This one for the TSA, definitely Hallows, or Hellboy 2 for the Army.
Ooh. I got a love for Hellboy 2.
So
Get
Hellboy, that's mine is Hellboy 2 as well. So I'm gonna go Hellboy 2 on that one as well. What about you, Jason?
It's Gilmore del Toro. I mean, like he can do an exposition dump, and I'll be like, okay, that's fine. You needed to do it because like he needed to, I mean, if he puts it in there, it's because it's necessary. So yeah, Hellboy 2. I mean, even though this one was really good.
It was great. And the animation style was great.
Yeah.
The style of animation, the way they approached it, fit that kind of 80s, 70s motif that they had going on in the whole, like it felt like the video you would see waiting in line at that particular place. They did a great job blending that animated live action. Like I'm like I said, I'll stand for this show all day long. So
also, I mean, since we all have such a huge love for Del Toro and all that, is Hellboy 2 the most underrated superhero movie of all time? Am I the only one that feels that way?
I don't know.
For me, it's in my top 5 of all time, and I think nobody talks about how good that movie is.
I mean, I think Blank Man is the most underrated superhero movie of all time. But
is he technically super because he doesn't have any superpowers?
He's super because he wears a super suit.
Okay, gotcha. And a black man getting that off, that's tough too. But okay, so we have 1 vote for Blank Man.
His robot companion was the best.
J5. No, hold on, time out. We can't go Blank Man. This Joker got an erection and didn't know what it was, man. Stop it. Man, we can't do underrated Blank. This man.
Right, how about Meteor Man then?
Oh yes, I love Meteor Man.
What?
Oh, okay, all right, Jason. I'm sorry, but we got to get rid of Jarren. He's culturally not a fit for the show.
Okay, Jarren, for next week, we are going to give you your time to tell us why Meteor Man sucks, because you gave thumbs down. For people who are listening, he gave thumbs down.
Oh, I gotta watch.
God, you were ruining my childhood here.
Oh, okay. So, what's your most underrated superhero movie?
Morbid, but
that's not even the same guy. You know what, Jarren? What's your underrated superhero movie of all time? So we got Hellboy 2, and we have Meteor Man.
I still remember that scene in Hellboy when they cut that huge monster and he bleeds like grass. Like that visual effects artist sits in my brain all the time. It was beautiful. Like
that's Hellboy 2. Hellboy 2, baby.
And then when you also realize that was like the last of its kind as well, and Hellboy had to kill it. Oh my god, that was that was definitely a great part of that movie.
Yeah, again, most underrated superhero movie of all time. I'll stand by it. Let's go ahead, and I had to go do something light because what we're about to do now is what we call creative destruction. So sometimes during this show, we're going to have moments where all 3 of us are united and we put our powers together. And instead of Captain Planet coming out, it's going to be I got to come up with a good character hater name, but it's going to have to happen here. So Paramount Plus debuted Infinite, a movie starring Mark Wahlberg as the main lead here. What was it, Marky Mark or whatever he was? Yeah. All right, you know what? I'm just going to go hand this over to Jason because usually when we have a fiery dissent, it's always either make him go first or last. So let's let you go first, Jason, and go ahead. Tell us your thoughts on Infinite.
You got notes. We got notes.
Yeah, I got notes. All right. So first and foremost, when I was watching this movie, I think it was Wednesday night, I sent y'all a text message at like 11 p.m. that said, why'd y'all make me watch this movie?
Hold on, before we clarify, Jarren made you watch this movie because I didn't even know it was coming out. Jarren made you watch this movie.
So there's another, you got 2 strikes today, Jarren. This movie is fucking dumb. All right? It's fucking dumb. Second and mid-most. I've been promised that someone I would say that. First off, the exhibition at the beginning, this voiceover narration of what's going on, which in pretty much any other lackluster movie is just pretty much rote. It's automatic almost. The thing is with this exposition is that not 10 minutes later in the movie, a character says this exposition that was, voiced over in the beginning of the movie, word for word. And it's like, why would you put the exposition in if another character is just going to say it? And that means 2 things. Either you think the audience is stupid or you're lazy. And I think it's both. And it's like, to me, it was like, they might as well just walked into my house and slapped me in my face and called me a moron with that piece of And then we get to the movie itself. Like, it's like this movie was written by a screenwriter who was really good at the craft of screenwriting, but was still in college. All right. There are a lot of really cool ideas. The premise is actually a pretty cool premise about people being reincarnated and carrying on this, endless war with people who don't want to be reincarnated anymore, and they're remembering their past lives. That's a really cool idea. It's just that all the other ideas in this movie don't really mesh well with the core idea. It's just like they just kept thinking of cool things to do without making any reasons for why the cool things are there. And it's just like you have to have some connective tissue between each idea to make it worthwhile watching. You have to. Okay, and then, so, all right, let's get some nitpicky shit right here, okay? We have Marky Mark as the main character. He is supposed to be this down on his luck reincarnation of this super badass guy. He can't get a job, and he has to take pills in order to tamp down his he thinks he's schizophrenic. This motherfucker can make Hanzo Hiriote katana swords, all right? You have a gold mine right there. Why are you broke? People will pay thousands of dollars for that sword. Is a market for that. Like, that is a thing that people do. People make money off of that. Why are you broke? Are you just incapable? And then he goes to the drug dealers to get his drugs. And apparently the screenwriter has never met any drug dealers because and this is always in movies where the drug dealers are just unnecessarily cruel for some reason. Like, they're drug dealers. They want you to come back and buy more drugs. They're not just like, I have never met a mean drug dealer in my life. All right. They've always been super nice. And then, like, this movie just keeps going. The freaking transformation car, they use it once and never explain why it can transform. Why does it need to switch its steering wheel from one side to the other, other for the fact that, you didn't want to do any other thing other than have him drive. This is the computer chip bullet thing. All right. So in this, there's a scene where Marky Mark gets to the headquarters of the good guy immortal people, and he's talking to the weaponsmith, and the weaponsmith is like, "Oh, I'm trying to reverse engineer the bad guy's gun," and he's like, "Oh, what does it do?" And it's like, it downloads people's souls. It's like, "Oh, so they can't be reincarnated." Like, that's the most logical, conclusion to that. It's like, how, why, what? None of this. And like, in the bad guy's main goal is that he doesn't want to be reincarnated again. He has a gun to stop that.
Thank you.
Just shoot yourself in the head. We don't have a movie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, third and backmost, like, these immortals are idiots. They're morons. For like, all these indigenous people, because all the flashbacks are like of Asian people or of Native American people, they all end up turning out to be white people at the end of the day. Except for one character who is the quote, the stereotypical Asian sword master. They don't even protect their base, which they know the bad guy knows it's where it is because he used to be a part of them. And so they just roll up in there and just kill everybody. Like it wasn't even like hard. It's and then the bomb thing that they're looking for. The whole premise of this thing is just stupid, that it will kill everything on the world so that no one can be reincarnated because everything's dead. And they make it in the beginning of the movie, make it think like, oh, all he needs to do is get it and then it's over. But by the end of the movie, he needs to put in a bomb and he needs to fly to fucking London or some shit so we can have this drawn out thing. It's like, why can't you just press the button and be done with it, dude? If you're so like, there are so many parts of this movie that have just giant leaps in logic and gaps in just storytelling. Like, it's more offensive to me to make a lazy movie than make a bad movie. This movie is just lazy, and it's just like, yeah, why don't y'all make me watch this movie, man? I have nightmares about this shit, man.
Well, Jarren, any points that Jasen has left off that you would like to speak on? All right,
I got tons. Fuck
okay, all right.
Chiwetel Ejiofor is one of my favorite bad guys. He was brilliant in Serenity, and I think that he at least made this watchable in this movie. He was good.
He's always good.
So the armored Aston Martin was kind of dope. I enjoyed that part. I took notes as I watched the movie, right? So my note is armored Aston Martin, James Bond level, kind of dope. And then we get to this discount danger room in their fucking hideout. Did it just need to warm the fuck up? I mean, it starts with a tragic hologram, and then all of a sudden he's in a big fucking park surrounded. I'm like, what the fuck was going on with that? The technology doesn't make any goddamn sense. Then that little bird disappears, like, bye bird, and then the little boy gets blown up. Bye little boy, you know, bye Spider-Man. Like, everything just fucking turns to dust. I love the wheelchair lady. She was phenomenal. She straight up tells him, I'm not crippled, you're fucking crippled. I love that shit. I wrote at this point, I hope they explain why he doesn't just build another fucking egg, because he built the first egg.
Oh, they killed all the scientists in the 80s, which also another thing.
He built
in Mexico City. He's driving a Lamborghini that was built in 1981. And we're supposed to believe that Mark Wahlberg is less than 30 years old. That dude is like 55.
A little bit. Yeah, and then I was like, fuck, plot hole. Blathers or Burkhart wants to die, creates an egg to kill everyone, also makes a bullet that stops the reincarnation process, but doesn't shoot himself. Moron. I did take a note. I was like, well, it's clear that I would have been the artisan if I had this gift, except minus the whole dead people cutting up thing. But I would have like created a whole fucking like scenario with a bunch of attractive women and a lot of booze and just used lives and lives and lives to build up on that. I thought he was a fun character. The holographic drone interface that my boy has, sexy as fuck. I thought that was
so dumb.
What?
It's so dumb.
Like, good.
What about this makes you guys need that? I mean, like,
I mean,
he had a whole army. He didn't draw.
Yeah. Same thing with the steering wheel thing. It's somebody had a cool idea and they didn't give a thread. They just dumped it into this movie.
Yeah,
jointedly.
Didn't give a rat's ass if it made sense or not. Just like, here it is. This looks cool. We got a budget.
Also, let's have a real conversation. Twice, not once, twice in this movie, there is a helicopter sneak attack. How the fuck do you sneak up on people in a motherfucking helicopter? Twice. This guy is like, all of a sudden, there's like nothing, and then he's like 2 feet away in the air, like, whoa, just over the ridge. Here I am. I'm like, fuck. And Marky Mark, clearly one of his past lives was Max Payne, because at some point he remembers how to dodge bullets in Bullet Time, which I thought was funny. But yeah, that's the movie blows. Don't waste your time on it. It's a disjointed mess that has so many plot holes in it. It's fucking Swiss cheese. It's garbage.
Yeah, I mean, my first initial note is I could give you an infinite amount of reasons why you should not watch this movie, but it has a great concept, just terribly executed. So since I always want to start with some love, and I think the love is stuff that you guys have already mentioned, like first thing I want to mention is that, yes, Okafor, I thought the same thing. He reminded me of Serenity, just a little bit more unhinged. Mm-hmm. I was here for it. I was like, okay, the action scenes are pretty good. Like, I wouldn't go back to them as something I would say, oh, go check it out for this. But they did put together some good action scenes that I thought were very kinetic and worked very well. Sad part is the best action scenes were with the characters we saw the least amount of on that little tower thing with the swords and a gun. So anyway, all right, whatever. So let's go to the hate, because it's a lot. But most of the stuff you guys kind of covered. So I'm just going to start off with the things you didn't cover. The main female lead, Sophie Cookson, because I looked up her name because she was that bad. She's a terrible actress. She must have to do better in something else, because what I saw on this, I never want to see her name anywhere near.
So bland.
It was god-awful. Mark Wahlberg is completely miscast for this, because you're correct. If he died in that thing and he got reincarnated in this, so what are we supposed to believe it's 50 years later? Because they didn't even try to make him look like a 20-year-old. And if that was the goal, why don't you just hire a fucking 25-year-old in Hollywood that can do the moves? Like, it ain't hard. Like, you don't need Mark Wahlberg to sell this movie. The concept of selling this movie. Nobody was like, oh shit, Mark Wahlberg in it? Oh, I gotta watch this. Nobody ever said that unless you're in Boston. And even then, they're probably out on it because they saw them Transformers shits and sold their money. So get out of here, Mark Wahlberg. That was terrible. And the last thing is, you guys already hit on the story and all that. For some reason, I feel like this is going to have a cult following. I think we're going to be up here 4 years later talking about how a massive lot of kids in this 18-year-old age now are going to be 4 years later and 5 years later talking about how awesome Infinite is. And we're going to look at them like, are you fucking kidding me? Did we see the same movie? Because it has all the elements.
Stupid.
Well, because it has all the elements of the sci-fi genre that are cool as fuck. Like you said, Jason, it is a cool as fuck concept. It's a cool as fuck world you can build around. They just sucked at everything else. But for some reason, I feel like nerdy college kids are going to sit around and watch this fucking movie and go, because of the action scenes and the cool concept, they're going to forget about all the stupid shit that we just laid out, and it's going to have a cult following. And I hate that because it's terrible. And I said, the story, know what the story should have been? The story should have been this guy who's reincarnated, who's probably a little schizophrenic. We spend the whole time figuring out if he is the real true guy. And they basically should be chasing him both sides so that we got to see the quote unquote the nihilist side of point of view to see why they believe what they're saying is right. And we should have had them on the other side for some time to see why they think they're right. And then the whole movie should have been based off of that, them trying to win him over. And then that movie would have worked great. And then if you want to do a sequel, you could do all the stupid shit you just did in this one for the sequel after you get everybody there. But no, I don't know if the nihilists are wrong or right either, because only guy we got was the dude that wanted to destroy everything, but he really just hated reincarnation. So what the fuck?
And the reason why he wanted to stop his reincarnation is because, unlike everybody else, he gets all his memories back when he's a fetus.
Yeah,
and that is like, that's a really good reason not to want it. Because if you're a baby with the knowledge of a grown ass man, not even a baby, if you're still a zygote with all the knowledge of a grown ass man, that has to be torture. And you have to start off every single life like that. That is a great reason not to want to do this. But it's just,
but you never gave us a reason why the other nihilists feel the way they feel about the story.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're not going to get any followers saying, I just want to 86 everything. Like, yeah, I'm signing up for that. No one's signing up for that.
Yeah, they should have had him when they had him in the interrogation room. That should have been his beginning journey. Should have been walking with the nihilists and him showing them ropes of being immortal and being reincarnated and showing why this sucks. And we could have got at least 20 good minutes out of that with them acting and doing this, and then having the good guys come in feeling like the villains trying to destroy things because they made some good reason why the nihilists may be right. And then you could have flipped it. That way, at least we could have streamlined a lot of this shit and we could have got all the world building out of the way and we could have actually felt like we knew where we stood. I left the movie just thinking, why don't you just shoot yourself in the head? And two, I still don't know why you want to destroy all of humanity. I don't get why you want to destroy everything. It makes no sense.
Yeah, he's convinced to reincarnate.
You gotta reincarnate, man.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing we're going to all agree that nobody should ever watch this movie again and just put it in that pile of just bullshit that came out this summer.
I want to die so I can reincarnate to a body that did not remember watching this movie.
You have the memories.
Yeah. Well, if it's actual reincarnation, I wouldn't have the memories. So therefore, I'll be good. All right.
It would have come back.
That's true.
No,
that's true.
No. If that's the one thing that comes back, I'm on the nihilist side. Then. Also, like, there's some other nitpicky stuff to me, like katana swords aren't magical. They can't just slice through airplanes. I don't care how the best swordsmith who built katanas is just as good as the best swordsmith who built long swords, who built ikuas. There's no magical properties to a katana that is better than, katanas are good at doing katana shit, but they're not good at doing other sword shit. It's like they need to stop fetishizing Asian culture. I'm sorry. It's not magic. All right. You can't stab a katana through an airplane and still hold on and not die.
Facts.
It's
all right.
So much stupid shit like that.
Let's switch on to a movie that had a better katana fight. We're going to talk about the infamous movie that Hulu has on there that I think maybe about 7 people watched, Jason being included, Boss Level. And that goes with our theme of the day about time loops and reincarnation. It is a time loop movie set where a gentleman's trying to figure out why someone has been sending hitmen and assassins to kill him. So we'll go ahead and start with you, Jarren, because Jarren, you watched it for the first time today, didn't you?
Not today.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. So what are your thoughts about Boss Level?
First of all, love the movie. I highly recommend it. Actually, me and Alex are going to watch it again when this is over tonight because he's got a couple hours that he can spend. Couple notes. It took Frank Grillo entirely too long to remember some really key shit that happened like the day before all this shit started. Like he stayed in that loop for a long time before he thought hard about anything. Like anything. It's funny. I love the casting. The two German twin assassins are black. I love it. Absolutely love
great.
I love it. It's not what you expect. In any movie, you're like, oh, two German assassins. It's gonna be Hans and Franz. And they're you know what I'm saying?
Blonde and blue-eyed.
Hair. Yeah. It's like the action is phenomenal. There is a lot of heart that they deliver in this movie, and it's well earned and well deserved. I was a huge fan of the sun angle and how that whole thing started. Again, maybe a couple months too late in his fucking thing, but I'm glad he got there in the end. Not the quickest guy, but he got it. I love when he gets Hitler's gun and he shoots the chick with it and he's like, it's for the Jews. Love that. Love that. What a random fucking thing, but I just fucking loved it. And Kuan Yin's hair blowing in the wind every time she says her name.
Kuan Yin, and I have done this.
Phenomenal, as well as that is a great sword fight. Like that is a phenomenal sword fight. Also getting his knowledge from that chick, the captain of the starship,
Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh, yes. Phenomenal. The action was on point. The cast of characters was fun, and honestly, as Crossbones, you don't really see an incredibly likable Frank Grillo, and he won me over in this. Like I was like, yeah, I'm on this guy's side. I'm absolutely on this guy's side. No, he's not been the best husband. He's a bad father. But
I don't think he was ever her husband, though. That's the thing.
Were they not ever married?
I don't think they were ever married.
Okay.
That's why he never was the kid's dad. The kid didn't even know he was his dad.
Well, the kid didn't know, but he knew.
Yeah.
And so that's on the adult to show the fuck up for the kid. It's not,
exactly.
It's not on the kid to go, hey, where's my dad at? You call me up. So yeah, I like super likable. The quality of the loop was great, and the exposition and seeing you could tell that they love the idea of the loop and they love to play in it. So there he'll sit there and do voiceover of how he changed his day up slightly, and then you'll see the repercussions of it, and it was great. And when they revisited it, they were in danger of revisiting the past too much, but they established what they needed to and then shortened everything down, I think, to the right level where I didn't get bored watching him go through the front of that bus too many times. You know what I mean? Also, that one girl, that old woman just stepping on his face.
All right. Jason, thoughts on the film?
Well, obviously, I like the movie because I put it as my top 2 or top 3 time loop movies. This is an enjoyable, fun film. And as Jarren said, it also has heart. It is a film, from the most part, that's kind of very, very silly. It's a lot of, over the top gratuitous death scenes that are, one is more outrageous and outlandish than the other, but it also has this really deep emotional core with this guy discovering his relationship with his son and then not only just discovering the relationship with his son, but realizing what it means to be a father and wanting to protect his son from the harshness of the world. Like the times where he just sat with his son and watched the world ends are like, I say this a lot in these movies, but like I teared up a little bit, man, because I was thinking about my own kid and sitting there having to comfort him while, thinking about having to comfort him while the world ends in front of you. Like Frank Grillo has been one of the most underrated action stars in this current generation. Like I was a big fan of him since The Purge 2. He made a great
that's my first saw him too. He was awesome
protagonist in that.
Yep.
He's been in a lot of he's been like a secondary role in a lot of movies, and he just he's usually just the badass quiet badass guy. But in this one, I loved how like he is not the brightest, crayon in the crayon box. It took him a while to figure things out, but we learned like as he figured things out, he adapted to the new plan. As he figured, oh, I'm being tracked. Oh, I'm like, the boss, the bad guy is, probably my ex-wife's boss or ex-girlfriend's boss or whatever. Like, and he like adapted to each different situation to make it further and further through this time loop. And I love how it was kind of like plays out kind of like a video game, which hence why it's called boss level. Yeah. But like it's just it's fun, it's funny, it has great action. The sword fight at the end is great. It's also like it made sense on how like the time loop was supposed to work, how like everything just kind of just fit together very well. I love this movie. I was 100% like cheering this movie on. Hopefully more people will watch it. It's a good. And this year, 2020, we had two very good time loop movies come out. If not, I think more than that. But like Palm Springs and Boss Level, like there should be more conversations about these movies because they're really good. They're really, really good.
Shout out to Will Sasso, Mad TV, showing up as the head thug.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, was anybody else stressed at the very end when it was like, oh, I have to do this I have to do this day one more time, and if I die for real? I was like, are we gonna? Is this? I was genuinely stressed about that
because by the time he's got to this point, he's like, I'm prepared for this. This is the boss level. I know what to do. He knows he knows the ins and outs of this world. He is that's the point. He already started off as a very sealed individual to begin with because he was like an Navy SEAL or whatever. But he's even more skilled now than he was when he started the time loop. Like I was like, they are bad.
That last day was stressful, man. That last day was stressful. He jumped and caught a helicopter and then swung to the next rungs. You can do that once or twice and still miss it on the third, and then he's just street pizza and it's over. Like
I love the times where he did miss it. He just like
That's true. So I'm gonna make mine quick because we got the big conversation for the end of this. But again, I'm with you all. I enjoyed it. Thumbs up. Suggest everybody see it. Great, really, really good movie. Only thing I have that maybe just left out on the cutting room floor for what you guys said is, man, how the fuck did they get the score and land Mel Gibson and Naomi Watts for this kind of movie? Like, it doesn't feel like a movie they would be involved in at all. And when you see that Mel Gibson's like the boss, it's like, oh shit, this is Lethal Weapon male. Like, this is fucking racist sugar tip male, and he's just a straight badass. So kudos to the movie. However you landed him, great job.
I feel like Mel Gibson now at this point is just doing movies that he likes to do. Because if you've seen Fat Man, that's a fun Mel Gibson movie, and you would never think that he would be in this movie. But like, that's a fun. No, he was the good guy in that. He was Santa Claus.
After all his bullshit in real life, I think Mel Gibson should probably just stick to being the bad guy because I can believe him as that.
Yeah. I feel like he's trying to do a better than what he was before, but he's still a crazy old white dude. So like, there's only so much he can change. But I did enjoy him in this movie as well.
Absolutely. Like I said again, it's probably my favorite part. Well, not favorite part, but great reveal at the end that he's the real bad guy, and great to have Mel on there doing some real shit here. All right, let's go to our last topic of the day, which everybody's going to enjoy, especially Jasen. So, Jasen, we're usually going to start doing these topics where we have hot takes or discussions about stuff in the culture that we just want to get settled right here, right now, for all geek and nerd sake. So, Jasen proposed something about Snape, and I know you guys briefly hit on it last week, but didn't fully go into it. So, Jasen, tell us your thoughts on Snape from the Harry Potter series and what we're about to debate real quick.
So, what I originally done was on Facebook because I was sitting around, just thinking about nerd shit. I originally said that a character from another series is a much better double agent than Snape ever was, and Snape. If for people who don't know, Severus Snape is from Harry Potter. He is kind of for the first few novels kind of like a closet bad guy. You know, he's like an obvious bad guy, but at the end, you find out that he was really trying to help Harry succeed in his goals. My biggest thing is like, and they're in the Harry Potter fandom, there are people who absolutely love Snape. And, you know, and that is okay. You can like who you like. You are 100% okay doing that. For me, Snape is an asshole. He is not worthy of that love and admiration. He is and the thing is, and I'm going to only use the book for basically my reasonings why, is that the number one things, well, there's a few things that make Snape not so lovable for me. The biggest thing is that we find out at the end of the novels that the reason Snape is doing all this is because he was in love with Harry Potter's mother, Lily Potter, and that he was the one that inadvertently got her killed. Or not even inadvertently. He knew what was going to happen. And the reason he's done all this stuff is because he still loves and still cares for Harry's mother. Now, to me, to most people, that's a sweet sort of sentiment that he still holds this love for this woman. But the thing is, it's not love. It's an infatuation because this woman chose another man. She had a family with another man. The last time she saw Snape, even though they grew up together, Snape called her a mudblood, which is a racial slur in there. And he had already joined the Death Eaters. He already had been doing things that would, be not in her best interest as a mudblood, as a half or as a muggle-born wizard or witch or whatever. And then for like the biggest, like sort of like, he did not care that Voldemort was going to kill her child. He did not care that Voldemort was going to kill his hated enemy, James Potter. He only cared that hopefully he could get a little Lily on the side piece after his boss got done killing her family. And then he's supposed to feel sad that she got killed. Like, you literally sent Hitler to Anne Frank's house and expected Anne Frank not to get killed because you like Anne Frank. So that is the basis for it. And then Dumbledore comes in after he feels bad for getting Anne Frank killed. It's like, so what are you going to do about it? And he's like, whatever you tell me to do. And for the whole rest of the novel, Dumbledore pretty much instructs him how to be like this double agent and, help out Harry Potter, even though he treats Harry Potter like an asshole. Like, he emotionally abuses Harry. He emotionally abuses Neville, which are two people who are fucking orphans who his friends either killed his parents or tortured their parents. He's never shown to be. And one of the things that really irked me is, I'm not going to call this person out. They have their opinions and they're well thought out and they're well good. But it's the matter of growth for the character. For me, he has never grown from that sullen, angry little boy. He's always been that. And even though he helped Harry Potter, even though he put his life on the risk, in the danger for it, he never grows to the point where he's like, oh, all this anger and all this, hate that I had doesn't help. Maybe I should try to be a little kinder. And doesn't mean you have to be nice. He doesn't mean he's going to come out there and smile and wear white and give Harry a hug, but he could be kind. And he's never kind. And that's what really, really, really bothers me, is that he knows all these horrible things that happen to these people. And they're children, by the way. And he's never kind in return. He never grows to be kind to them. He helps them, but he's never kind to them. And that's what really, really, really bugs me. And if I were writing the story, and even though J.K. Rowling was a billionaire, even though we can talk about her as a person later, I would have put something in that, in it didn't need to take long, like something that he showed that he was learning to be a better person. Maybe he never treats Harry like Harry needs to be treated, or maybe he treats Neville better. And we don't know that until the end. Or maybe he is trying to instruct Snape not to be a Slytherin asshole like the rest of the Slytherins. I don't understand why people like being Slytherins, because every single character who is a Slytherin is an absolute asshole. Like, there's not one good Slytherin. And Snape's like, well, Slughorn's an asshole too. All right. He just doesn't fight for Voldemort, but everybody else did. And like,
it's the same people that want to go, I'm Harley and my boyfriend's the Joker.
Yeah,
it's like you read the subject
you understand
matter.
what you're watching.
That's not
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I took on the role of being the Snape cape, you know, and we're about to return some of this fire that Snape has gotten. So my first one is he told Voldemort the prophecy. The prophecy could have been Neville or Harry. So he didn't know at the very initial thing he was sending them to the Parters. He just knew that the prophecy was this, and he gave him half the prophecy, but it was 2 kids born then.
But he did find out who Voldemort was going to, and he did ask Voldemort to spare Lily.
That's what I was going to say. That's what my next one is, that he was asking for the one that he loved. He didn't love that baby. That ain't his baby. He ain't got no love for the baby. And James, who he didn't fuck with at all, who they was bullying him, tried to get him hemmed up. He was like, I ain't rocking with them, so fuck them. Save old girl. Now, because old girl loved her child, she took the sacrifice. So for Snape's eyes, he looks at it as this. Hold on, me and you down. Me and you like this. Me and Lily, we you know, we 2 peas in a pod. We Forrest and Jimmy. The motherfucker that's harassing me and whipping me down, you decide you want to start fucking with? So yeah, I'm hot. I'm mad. So I call you a mudblood because I'm trying to hurt you. He does that. They separate. Cool. He's been bullied. He's been ostracized. So he's in Slytherin. He goes with the Dark Lord. Yeah, because he's trying to get payback because everybody who fucked with him is on the other side. So he's like, nah, I'm not trying to rock with the jokers that was fucking with me. I'm trying to slaughter them like they fucking harassed me. So I'm down for that cause. But he still had Lily on the side of like, all right, cool. So Voldemort does his thing. He asks for forgiveness from Dumbledore. Dumbledore's like, yeah, you got to do whatever it costs. Now we got to keep this in perspective. Snape is nice to no one. He's not even nice to other Death Eaters.
I didn't say
so why
nice.
do we expect him?
I said
no.
Those are 2 different things.
All of them. He ain't nice to anybody. Name anybody he's kind to. He's
kind to Narcissa. He's kind to Bellatrix because Narcissa comes and asks for him to watch over for Malfoy, and he makes an unbreakable bond that just says, yes, I'll do this for him. He's even kind to Dumbledore.
He's not kind for that. He has to keep the con going. And if he just said, nah, they'd be like, whoa, that's kind of weird that you wouldn't do this for them who's supposed to take out Dumbledore. He had to keep the con going. He wasn't kind to any of them. He was quippy with Bellatrix. Like, he was quippy with all of them except for Voldemort. If every scene you can go, but he always had a retort or something snippy to say. It wasn't like he was cool, kind, or caring to anybody in that whole series. So I do not feel bad that he was an asshole to Harry, who reminded him of James, spitting identical, the guy who tormented him for how many years? He was an asshole to him, but he still did what he was supposed to do,
but you a grown
which was to protect them. But he was still is he a grown ass man in body or in mentality? Hold on. But is he a grown ass man in mentality or just because his body? He does a lot of childish shit in there. But he's not. But we see him that he does a bunch of childish shit. He gets mad that he gets to get the defense of the dark arts. He's supposed to be cool with Dumbledore. He could never get it. So he was an asshole to everybody who got that job before him. This is all kid shit behavior. All the behavior student is kid shit with Snape. He's never acted like an adult, except for the only time he acted like an adult was when he did the sacrifices. But also on all this is that Snape never wanted to be the good guy. We put that good guy shit on him because Harry got his past memories. Snape never asked to be the good guy. Snape never asked to be immortalized and get Harry to make one of his sons' middle name his name and shit, which is crazy that Harry would do that because you got victimized for half your time there with him. So why would you name your kid after the guy? But Snape never wanted to be a hero. That's my point is that when you're like, oh, he was a bad double agent compared to other ones. Yes, compared to other people, probably. But for the story that was told for him, Snape was always going to be the same guy. The only difference was that he was fighting for the good side at the end versus when he was fighting for the good side at the beginning. He was the same guy. He was an asshole. He was non-caring. He wasn't kind. He was a dick to everybody all the way through. The only reason he got this redemption is because Harry got the memories. So let's imagine if Harry never got the memories, Snape is just dead in a boathouse and we're going about our business like it doesn't matter. Yeah. Never knowing that he did all the sacrifices. So to me, he's a perfect double agent. No one else knew except for him and Dumbledore. Ain't that what a double agent supposed to do? Only one guy know the secret? He did it phenomenally, and that's what makes him a hero because the fact that he did his job to the T. Nobody else knew. Nobody else suspected it. Voldemort was still asking him more advice. Like, That is the prototypical double agent you want, that no one knows except for the guy that hired you for your mission. And he accomplished that perfectly. So Snape should be on our hero board. Imagine if he wasn't just a nice, touchy-feely good guy at the end and had a beer with Harry to comfort. Fuck that. He was an asshole. I don't like you, Harry Potter. I just loved your mother. And because my love of your mother and because of the vow I made to Dumbledore, I got to respect you. I got to take care of your dumb ass. But if it wasn't for that shit, I'd probably let you die too and keep it moving. So that's why I feel like Snape gets the credit he deserved, because Snape never wanted the credit. We gave that to him because, we got some memories to know that he was a good guy.
He wasn't a good guy, though. That's the problem. He wasn't a good guy.
You're right.
The reason why he did all that shit was because of selfish reasons. And the fact that people idolize this dude is baffling to me, because he did things that are good, but never for the good reason. He never helped Harry just to help Harry. He helped Harry because Dumbledore told him to, because he felt bad for killing his girlfriend in fucking high school. He's a grown ass man. He is 33 when this fucking thing died. And thing is, even though he's instrumental in helping, Harry eventually defeat Voldemort, does Voldemort ever know that? Does he ever know that he's in, that one of his most trusted dudes has been betraying him this entire time? At least the Emperor was like, oh shit, when fucking Darth Vader tossed him over the edge. He's like, what the fuck, dude? And threw him over the edge. Voldemort's like, yo, I'm sorry, but I don't need you anymore. So bye, I guess. Like, there's never any realization that this dude who you trusted had been fucking you over this entire time. And that would have been, for me, his most redeeming thing, is that if Voldemort knew he was doing this, or if, even better, he never had to be kind to Harry. He never had to be kind to Neville or Hermione or Ron. He could have just done one thing before he died to actually show Voldemort that he was not on his side. That would have been the saving grace for me, because Voldemort never publicly does anything against Voldemort. And he just dies. And it's just oh, well.
Well,
and we're supposed to give him a hug because of that? No.
Well, I think, again, that goes to my point of him being good at double agent. But then, too, let's also keep in mind, in all of this minutia we're talking about, Snape wants to be a Death Eater.
That's even worse.
He wants to be a Death Eater. He only is not a Death Eater because old girl died and he made a promise that he'll do whatever. If he never made that promise, he's still rolling with the Death Eater camp. So, I don't expect nothing from a dude that wants to be all the bad stuff that he wants to be. But the fact that he did his job is
that he wants to be a Death Eater, because they're literally fucking Nazis. I do not care. I don't care if you're a Nazi and you're fucking with Nazis and you want to be fucking with Nazis, but you might have helped one Jew escape. You're still a fucking Nazi. Right?
I'm just glad Harry Potter wasn't told in 2021 in Georgia public schools, because Snape would have absolutely brought a gun to school and shot the motherfucker up.
That is true. That is true.
It would have definitely been. And also, Sirius Black says that even though, James and him might have been rough on Snape, Snape was equally as unkind and rough with them every chance they got. It was a tit for tat sort of thing. They weren't they were his bullies, but he was also their bully.
Totally serious.
Power side to that, though. There's a winning side and someone who's just trying to
come on, man.
Water.
We're not going to do this.
Anytime Snape got Harry and got James alone, he was fucking him up. Right?
I doubt that.
That's what Sirius said. And then we're going to not
Sirius Black try to get him. Hold on, but didn't Sirius? And I don't know if this is canon or not. I don't think it's canon. Didn't Sirius Black didn't Black try to send Snape to get eaten by a werewolf at one point? No, that was one of his tricks, that he was going to send him in to get. And I'm pretty sure that's canon. He tried to kill Snape. He tried to get a werewolf to kill him.
Yeah, because Snape was following him around.
Sorry. All right.
Look, I'm not saying that they're good as students either. They were definitely horrible to Snape. But fucking Severus, Sirius grew up. Sirius realized that he was an asshole to Snape. He realized that he was terrible to Snape. And he was like, let's put that behind us, he gets and Lupin wasn't really as bad as Sirius and James were. He gets Lupin fired and basically ruins his life just because he doesn't like him. Like that's the only job that Lupin has had in years. And like, oh, someone let slip that he was a werewolf. Well, who knew he was a werewolf? Hermione, Harry, Ron, Dumbledore, and Snape. So who let it slip? That's kind of a bitch move right there, all right? I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. Snape is a bitch, okay? And I bet Snape wouldn't meet me outside after doing that shit to me, all right? And it's just like all those things. And then like at the end, you know, we're supposed to feel like this guy is a hero. And to me, it's like he's not a hero. He's just a dude. He did some good things, yes. But I'm not going to admire him for it. I'm not going to be like, oh, he's the best part of this story. He is an asshole who treated orphans like dick, and you know never did anything to delineate him from the rest of the Nazis, other than you know publicly. I mean, you know, and then you know Harry Potter's gonna name his kid after him. I'm like, why'd you name your kid after that fucking Nazi dude? That's weird. Are you one of them too? Again, oh no, he did some shit because he loved my mom. Well, if you really loved your mom, he wouldn't have had you killed in the first place. All right. Like look, you don't if you love somebody, you don't try to kill their happiness, people. Like that's not love. You don't be like, oh, you're gonna kill her, or you're gonna kill her kid. Oh, that's cool. Just don't kill her. Like, no, you'd be like, don't kill her kid, don't kill her husband because she loves them. She's happy with them. And if you love somebody, you let them be happy and not try to kill their family.
Yeah. So, oh man. You don't know about that petty love that Snape had. That's why
it's not love.
I think you nailed that on the head. It's infatuation. It's definitely not
infatuation. Love. He never loved Lily. He never had to sit there and see if she farts in her sleep or if she doesn't like to do the dishes or like all the number of crazy shit that your spouse does, but you love them anyway, even though it gets on your fucking nerves, or you might even not like it at all, but you still fuck with them because you love them. You know, she doesn't know that. It's not love, because if you love somebody, you're not going to like do things to harm them, right? I mean, you on purpose anyway. You do
harm their happiness, yeah.
But you're not going to be I love my wife, but you know, fuck these kids she got. I'm just going to throw them down the fucking stairs or whatever.
look, man. Again, all I'm gonna say is that I'm not going to tell another man how he should love. If he need to get rid of that bastard kid in his eyes, get rid of the motherfucker. If that's what he want to do, that's what he's going to do. I'm not going to tell another man how to love. That's what I'm not going to do. But I will say this in our conversation, yes, I do think he is a proficient double agent. Because I thought the initial thing was him being a double agent and his heroism. I think he's a proficient double agent because he kept the secret. Only one of the guy knew until, you know, he told Harry. And I'm pretty sure after that, Harry started snitching. And then the second
he was definitely a snitch. He'd be saying, hey, guys, guess what Snape did?
right. The second thing, I think his heroism isn't necessarily made off the fact that he went into it thinking to do the sacrifice or the big play to save, quote unquote. Let's be completely honest. Voldemort only killed him because he thought that he was the owner of the Elder Wand. Like, Snape makes it to the end if he doesn't start putting together who disarmed who, and that's why he couldn't do it. So Snape probably still walks out of there alive if he didn't do the unbreakable vow to protect Malfoy. Snape still survives, and I think even if Snape would have survived, he probably would have told you, like, hey, I'm an asshole. We're not going to be cool after this, Harry, but I didn't make my promise fulfilled. Fuck off, you asshole. Like, I feel like that's how the movie would have ended if he would have survived. So he'd have went back to doing whatever former Death Eater shits do when they're not doing Death Eater shit. That's what he went back to doing.
Take me off that Christmas card list, Harry. I ain't about that.
Right. Yeah, I'm damn if you name your kid after me too. Yeah. Fuck out of here. Name your kids after. So, as the hero part of it, I think he's a reluctant hero. Like, he wasn't trying to. He didn't think he was going to get to go as far as he did, but he did go as far as he had to go at every single stop and turn. So, to me, that, I mean, regardless if it was forced upon him or because he chose it, he still did heroic acts that did save the day, and he kept his promises. I mean, I'm going to go with hero, and I'm going to go with the fact that he was a great double agent. He kept a secret.
He's a good double agent. I'll give you that. I'll even say I'll give you a hero, but he's not admirable. That's what I would say.
Oh, no. Hell no.
He's not admirable. He's not someone you should be.
Can you call him a hero as one heroic thing, really? Huh? If it boils down to one heroic action, is he a hero?
No, I don't even think Darth Vader is really redeemable either. He killed kids.
No.
And the last time, and it took him to like the very last second of his kid getting lightning before he even did anything about it. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, Darth Vader.
Also, he sucked as a kid.
Yeah. He was a very annoying kid. That's even the worst part. Like, all the other stuff I can forgive, but like the sand thing, get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
It's so coarse and rough. It gets everywhere. What are you talking about? You grew up on a sand planet. You asshole.
This is pod racing.
That's a good trick.
Bitch, I'm from
a twirl is a good trick. Like no other fighter pilots have seen anybody do a 360 spin. I guess. All right, cool. All right. We're with it.
It's bad, right? A long time ago. All right.
In a galaxy far, far, far away, they did roll spins.
Yeah.
Keep it as far away as possible. Just keep moving it so far away.
That's that new.
Is Jar Jar Binks the most annoying character ever created in sci-fi history?
The most annoying.
Yes. Because I mean, look, Ahmad Best, who is Jar Jar Binks, did the best he could. But he did a really good job bringing that character to life. Now that character is fucking terrible. It's it is poorly written. It's supposed to be comic relief, but nothing he does is funny. It's just all annoying.
Yeah.
But he's better than C-3PO.
Wow. Okay. Hot take of the year. We're going to wrap this show up with that one before we go any further into that.
He didn't deserve all the death threats he got. That's
you're right. We're going to let that live where it is. And again, thank you everybody for listening to the N-Word for Nerd podcast. We're going to keep bringing you this heat and this smoke as long as you guys keep enjoying it. Please remember to like, follow, share, and subscribe at all of our places. That's YouTube, Facebook, on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, anywhere and everywhere. We're pretty much, you can find us and enjoy this content. And I guess we got any last words from you, Jarren, for today?
No, appreciate you guys, man. This has been a long one. We're gonna start doing these long forms, are we?
I know. We had more movies to review than normal. We had 3. Usually we get like 1 or 2, but you know how it goes. And Jason, any final words?
Fuck Snape.
And be kind.
And there you go. And put your bark in your servers. But most importantly, fuck Snape.
Well, that being all, we will see you all next week. Peace.